Really appreciate it. This is a pre-match press conference for Jamaica against Cuba in the CONCACAF Nations League. Again, a reminder, members of the media, please put your phones on silent or vibrate so as not to disturb the press conference. That would be greatly appreciated. And as everybody is aware, this is a new cycle of the CONCACAF Nations League. It's now a qualifier for the Gold Cup for next summer in the United States. And as we know, we finished third in the Nations League, our highest ever finish in the competition, as we recorded our first medal in 7 years. Tomorrow's match, 7 o'clock at the National Stadium. Before we get into questions from the media and a few remarks from our head coach, let me just introduce the individuals here. To my immediate left, we have the head coach of the senior men's national team, Mr. Steve McLaren, and to his immediate left as well, captain of the Reggae Boys, Andre Blake. As we know, Andre's last game for Jamaica was in the Nations League as well, as we copped that bronze medal beating Panama 1-0. So welcome back, Andre. Welcome back to the squad, and glad the recovery was also quite speedy as well. So before we open the question and answer segment, Coach, just a few opening remarks for you heading into your first match on Jamaican soil.
Yeah, very short and sharp. Looking forward to it. It's been a long build-up since I first came over to Jamaica. It was nice to get into camp, meet the players, get on the grass, and lose my voice, shouting too much. But it's been great from the first day the players came in. There's great energy amongst the players, great spirit amongst them, and they've showed that on the training field. We need to transfer what we've done this week onto the field tomorrow to get a result against Cuba.
All right, thank you very much, Coach. Much appreciated there. We can now commence the question and answer segment. Please raise your hand, indicate, and we can commence whether your question to Andre or to Coach McLaren. Yes, go ahead, Coach, Robert.
So far, tell me some of the things that you have seen from the team so far that you liked about the team.
I like the spirit. I like the energy. I like them smiling. They enjoy being around each other. I like the trainings, which is why I've lost my voice, because they've put everything into the training session, the intensity. The desire to work. That's what I've liked. We've tried to introduce one or two things. I think we need to keep things simple. I think the style of play had success. I want to keep that. I want to keep the foundation, keep the basics, keep what they've had for the last 2 years, where they've developed, and as Simon says, third in the Nations League. We want to continue that, but also we want to improve it. So I'm here to help the players go to the next step, the next level, in which we can, stay number one in the Caribbean, but also, let's get up the rankings in CONCACAF, and the ultimate goal, which is World Cup qualification in 26.
But your first game is tomorrow, in the nerve on your part. I know you have been there and done it before, but your first game, inside the National Stadium as a head coach, in the nerves, how are you feeling?
Yeah, always. I like that. It means you're ready for the game, and that's what football's all about. Doesn't matter what level. Always, when you play, you're always don't know quite what's going to happen. It's football. We can control the controllables, which we've tried to do, and we've tried to introduce one or two things, keep things simple. And I'm going to concentrate tomorrow on the performance. If we get the performance from the players, normally you get the win. That's what I'll focus on.
All right, any other questions? Howard Walker?
Coach, Howard Walker from Howard Today. You are an experienced coach. How would you describe yourself? Are you an attacking coach, an defensive coach? How would you describe your style of play? Or what we'd like to implement at the
Well, I try to be a winning coach, because winning keeps you in the job and helps you develop and helps you go forward. So I'm quite a flexible, adaptable coach. I like the fundamentals. I like the basics. I like people knowing their jobs, doing their jobs, working hard, having good attitude, being hard to beat. I think that's the platform of all performances. If you're easy to beat and you're too stretched and you can't defend, you don't win football matches, or not enough. So that is what the team have got. That's what they've developed over the last 2 years under the last coach, and I like that. I like that. Gives us a platform. We need to build from that platform now.
So in terms of formation, though, what's your preferred formation?
That's adaptable, that's flexible to the players that are available. So it depends on the players, depends on the opponent also. So yeah, we've introduced one or two small things, principles, non-negotiables, which we must have in a game. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen straight away. We're going to have spells where maybe we try to build up, but we make mistakes. And, you know, Andre is central to that. And, yeah, I take responsibility for that. So the players, we want them to play. We want them to, you know, be able to deal with the ball, handle the ball, control the game in possession. So not just have a transition game, but to try and have some control, which is in possession, control the game, out of possession, you're in good shape, good formation, hard to beat.
Thanks, Howard. Donald, then Mr. Blake.
Coach McLaren, welcome to Jamaica. Donald Oliver from Sportsmats. Over the next 18 months, I'm not sure how much of a Harry Potter person that you'd have to become to lead this team, but let's see what happens. But in regards to tomorrow's game, first game against Cuba in particular, is it that you would be more of a coach tomorrow where the handbrake is up, or you're going to be asking your players to express themselves more as you observe, as this is like a litmus test for you?
You're absolutely right. It's a test, and it's the first time I've worked with them this week. I can't fault their attitudes and the work and the attention they've given to the detail we've given them. So I can't fault that. But you're absolutely right. It's more a focus on the performance. And it won't be perfect. I know that. Over 90 minutes it won't be. There'll be ups and downs and good spells, bad spells. But I want to see just some of the things that we've worked on. That the players are taking that on board and the team is developing in that, but also keeping the structure which they've had for the last 2 years, and just help them develop from that. Because I think if you want to compete, you want to stay number one in the Caribbean, you want to get in the top 3 of the CONCACAF rankings, then you have to develop your game. And you know, we've worked with the players, we've talked with the players, how do we develop? So tomorrow is the first step, and it's a big step, one in which we need to find a way to win, but also show signs of the performance which we've worked on.
Andre, I know that you've been on the sidelines for the last few months. You'd have seen a couple of disappointing results, especially from our standpoint, from the fans' standpoint. Knowing that you're with the squad now at the setup, what's the feeling like there? Because probably seeing the performance would have been a little bit strange, not only because you weren't playing, but based on the type of performance that you'd have seen. But what's it like being back in there?
It's always good to be back, you know, with the boys. You know, as coach said, the energy is good, the vibe is right in the camp, and it was tough for me, you know, not being able to be with the boys, especially in the Copa. But I think they did well for the most part, you know. But the game can be defined, you know, by small margins, you know, and unfortunately we fall short, you know. But I think we're headed in the right direction, and with Steve coming in, you know, and implementing these strategies, I just think that, you know, we're excited and we're looking forward to it, and I think there's great things to come.
Yeah, Mariah, Mr. Blake. Mariah, and then
And
Mr.
how are you
Blake.
feeling fitness-wise? Because I know being out for some time and then coming back in, just like your fitness level, everything about that. What are the doctors saying to you? Because Blake, the worst thing we can hear is you're not playing.
I'm good. I've played 11 games since I've been back, you know. Quick succession games, you know, but, you know, I guess you could say that was a test, and I've passed the test, you know, so I'm good to go.
Okay, and coach, this one is for you. After all the work you did, all the calls you made to get Leon Bailey back, so unfortunate that, you know, he picked up that injury for Aston Villa. Jamal Lowe comes into the setup. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I've been watching Jamal since he was a young player. Big talent, and I think he's progressed. Needs to find a home I think he's found that at Sheffield Wednesday. He's playing very well. I've seen him on the wing. I've seen him as number 9. So that flexibility we talked about within the squad, that is what you need for sure. And yeah, it was disappointing. All the work we'd done to get Leon back, and then he goes and gets injured. But I spoke to him this morning, Leon, and he's in good spirits. It's not too bad. He might be back for the bench in 2 weeks for Villa, but definitely he said he'll miss 1 game and available for the next camp. So we look forward to that. But it's an opportunity for Jamal Lowe to come back into the squad. He's been in before, and he's got to take the opportunity, and he's got an opportunity tomorrow.
So first of all, Coach and Captain, best wishes from the fans for a positive result both here and in Honduras. Coach, for you, let's start off with a footballing question. One of the observations of the team going forward in the past has been the long balls that have been deployed. Will that still be a feature of our team? And on the second footballing side, we've always been in very good positions and seem to concede in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game after the 80th, 85th minute. What strategies have you put in place, if you can say, to counteract that so that the team can hold on when they have played so well for most of the game and either end up with a draw or not see the game right through to get the 3 points? That's the first question.
I got to say it's a very good question, 2 of them. And I don't know about, I don't call it long ball, I call it the long pass. And that's what we're asking him to do. You pass the ball. If it's long, if it's short, it's a pass. And you need the long ball. Sorry, you need the long pass. Occasionally in a game. And we've talked about that because in the modern game of football it's changing, tactics are changing, and players and the teams are pressing hard, and they may leave space behind. Therefore, what do? You play into the trap, or you play a long pass in behind the defenders. You have to have every strategy. You have to be able to do all the things, and I think that's what I'm not saying we're trying to develop all the things, but we're trying to vary our game so that we can play. We've got that structure, but also, and we say to Andre, in the end, no risk. If it has to be a long pass, has to be a long pass. We've got Antonio up front. We've got Shamar Nicholson up front, who are big and physical. We got speed. We have to use that speed. How do you use that speed? Use that speed by exploiting the space behind defenders. How do you do that? Then quickly you have to have a long pass in behind. So it's a great strength of the Jamaican team, in which we're good on transition, but we want to develop that into more possession. The second question, in terms of the last 10 minutes and conceding goals, and we talked about that yesterday. He pointed out that fact to me, and this is what I've said to the squad. Football is not about 11 players. It's about the starters and the finishers, and the finishers have a more important job than the starters because they have to finish the game. So subs are important. There's 5 subs now. So in a situation where you're winning a game, you're losing a game, it's important that the squad, the players on the bench, part of the squad, they impact. And that's also what I'm looking for. So I'm not just looking at how we start, how we develop through the games, how we take half time, how we take instruction, how the bench affect the game, make an impact, so that we don't, if we're 1-0 up, we don't concede in the last few minutes of the game. You know, the sign of a good team, and we've said this, the sign of a good team is we keep going and we score in the last 10 minutes. So we may be down, we may be drawing, but a good team stays in the game, finishes the game, and scores a winning goal. But also make sure that it doesn't lose the game as well.
Just an open question. Can you tell us what's the difference between your first day as England head coach and your first days as Jamaican head coach? What's the difference for you?
Well, basic difference is there's probably 3, 6, 9, 12, 18, 20, 21 players in the room, and that first day with England there was about 200.
All right, let's go to Roger and then Jerome.
Yes, good morning. Just a quick question for Andre, and then I'll have 2 quick ones for Coach. Andre, what was the general sentiment in terms of when you guys learned that Steve McLaren will be taking over the reins? What was the general sentiment among the squad?
I mean, it was a bittersweet moment. You know, Hammer came in and he did a good job. You know, he definitely take us to another level. You know, but you know things happen. You know, and when it was Steve time, you know, obviously who didn't know him had to do their research. You know, but immediately we realized that we were getting somebody with a great pedigree. You know, so everybody was excited, as I said before, and we're all looking forward to it. And you know, now that we got a chance to meet and work together, you know, we're just excited. You know, it's great things to come.
Okay, Coach. Cuba is ranked 160 odd in the world. Jamaica is in the 50s, and there's a general sentiment that this should be an easy 5-6-0 win. Not certain how much blindsided are you in terms of what to expect from the Cubans, but what you know is that you have the players working with for that game. What would be your general sentiment and expectations heading into that game and coming out of that game?
I think the first expectation is, like every game, we plan to win and we expect to win. So that's the first message to them, and then go out and win. That's basically it. Cuba will be a difficult team. They performed very well in the under-20s CONCACAF Cup. They're developing. They've got quite a few resources now, so their game is developing, their coaching is developing. You can see from the team the shape, the structure, they're organised, they're disciplined. And I think the key thing is the trainer, the coach who was leading the team in the under-20s has now been moved to the senior team. So continuity will, the players will know the system, will know the style. They have a certain way of playing. I've watched them, they're very organised, very disciplined, very difficult to break down. So we expect to take the game to Cuba, make sure that we take the game, use our individual talent, shall we say, in the final third, create and score, but also to make sure they're very dangerous on the transition, that our rest defence is right, and we get the balance between attack and defence and not go too gung-ho. So a balanced performance, expectations of winning, and demanding that we win.
Jerome?
Coach, a question for each. Coach and Captain first. The coach mentioned that there are some non-negotiables. Are you able to elaborate on some of those, and what is the reception like from the players?
Yeah, since the first day, Coach said everybody on the team is going to need to want the ball. Everybody on the team is going to have to be willing to run, defend together, fight for each other. And yeah, I have to agree with Coach. If you want to be a really good team and go to the next level and, compete and beat the US and the Mexicos and even, the bigger teams, you have to be able to do these things and do them consistently. And as he said, if you're not willing to do it, you won't be in the room, and that's as simple as it gets. We have to set high standards and maintain them. So again, I'm really excited and I'm just looking forward to it.
And Coach, obviously 2 weeks is never going to be enough for you to implement everything that you want to implement, but what has it been like so far in terms of getting the information from?
I think we'll see tomorrow. But it's been 3 days. 3 days is difficult to implement and change too many things. As I said before, and Andre is right, you have to have non-negotiables. And that is absolutely right. Everybody must be able to deal with the ball, take the ball, in modern day football. And if you want to go higher, you have to have players who can deal with that, get out of tight areas, pass through the lines, change play, switch play, comfortable on the ball. That's one thing. We attack with 11, we defend with 11. No more is the one where we leave the 9 up front, he doesn't have to work, or the 11 can cheat. Everybody has to work together in terms of that. And I think the key thing is consistency. If we get consistency in them areas, then you get results on a more level basis. But as I say, it's a process, and it's great. The process started on Monday. Couldn't wait. We're out on the grass. That's where the players want to be. That's where I want to be. That's where we want to be tomorrow night in these big games. Next week against Honduras, hostile atmosphere. This is why we're in football. And people said they were a little nervous. Of course, the anxiety because it's football. But that's the beauty of football. That's why we're in this sport and play it, to make sure that we consistently, day in, day out, game in, game out, get the non-negotiables, and we'll be okay.
We can take Mario and Eddie, and then we wrap up now.
I'm sorry. All right, Eddie Vision TV, Coach. A few practice sessions. Have you settled and not started in the yet?
Yep.
You have a follow-up, Eddie? All right, Robert?
Coach, like you said, the first game tomorrow, what would be your word to the fans now? Because a lot of persons are reluctant to come out and, still reluctant to come out. What would be your word to the fans about, supporting this team?
I think one of the goals we talked about when we came in was we want to fill the stadium. We want to fill it. And we're not doing that at the moment. And the players don't like that. I don't like hearing that. I want all the support that we can get, because that's why we play out there. That's why we go out there, for the supporters to play for. Yes, for each other. Not for the coaching staff, but for each other and for the supporters. There's nothing better than a connection. And I want to emphasise to the players that the connection we need with the fans, we need to start tomorrow. We need to, give the. We talked about, what is the culture of Jamaican football? What do they want to see? What do they want? So we want to do that. Give them what they want, but also win, because I know Jamaicans, they want to win. They don't want to finish second, they don't want to finish third, they want to win. And we all do in football. So that's the key thing. And the fans, it's up to us. And it's up to performances and results to get to that level and build the crowd up.
All right, last one over here.
All right, Emmanuel Sullivan, Sports Matters coach. I just want to ask you about, your club career, well documented, and your stint with the England national team. Speak to me about the differences between international football and coaching at the club level.
Somebody said this week, it's a lot of work that we're doing, that we're getting into the day. And I said at top level football, that's every day. And that's the difference between international football. You do get a break. But the camps are really intense. You really have to work hard. You really have to get the information right. You really have to get the strategies right. Whereas club football, I call it relentless. At least with the camps and international football, you get a little breather in between, and then another 10-day camp, you've got to go again. So for the coaches, there's that rest. For the players, unfortunately, it's 24/7, 365 days a year, because they're doing both. And football at now, this level, and the level that they're playing at, it's intense. And the pressure, people don't realise the pressure. They don't realise, especially with mental health nowadays, and since COVID, that mental pressure and that mental health has become more apparent. And people are coming out and realising that, you can't hide in the shadows with the pressure and the stress and the anxiety and no support. You have to come out and talk about it. And I think modern society is providing that. So I had it for 2 years. Manchester United, it was relentless. Every day, travel, 65 games in the year, travel to Europe, back, next game 3 days later, preparing for that. And the preparation, the detail, it's intense. So At the moment, I'm enjoying this camp. It's back to where I'll get a breather. They carry that under pressure, and then in another few weeks we meet again.
Thank you very much, members of the media. Thank you very much to Andre and Coach McLaren. Training starts at 10 o'clock, so the first 15 minutes is open to the media.
Thank you.